Now we're at a stage where we're almost 25 years hence since that initial period, if
Yeah.
not more. What did you decide at that point that LG would stand for?
Yeah, that was actually the journey started in 1994. Yeah. Um, there is you don't wake up one fine day and then decide this is my moment and this is my vision, right? You go around meeting customers, you meet competitors, you understand what makes the market work, right? And then you decide, then you identified which part of the need of the market is least fulfilled, right? So that's one part of it. That's identifying the opportunity. Now, in a mature market like this, those opportunities are not so big. It's not like a cell phone technology or the high-tech new information technology where opportunities are quite big and visible, right? We are in a very stable business, right? So the opportunities are very niche. The second part of it is we are an unknown brand and we have a made in India label, right? So we need something that is, the value proposition should be far more compelling than what the rest of the established players give to the customer. So for us to define that takes time. You need to identify. For me, a classic differentiation is the stated need of a customer versus the unstated want of a customer. Yeah?
Okay.
A stated need is you go to the market, you ask a customer, how do you buy a compressor? And the customer will pretty much reel out, this is the basis on which I buy. So that's the stated need. But there are things that the customer accepts as a fate.
Okay.
To give you an example, when cell phones were all operated by buttons, you go to a customer and say, on what basis do I have? I'd like a bigger button. The buttons are too small. That's a stated need. But you can't expect a customer to say, I want a touch screen at that point in time. That's an unstated want. It's a pain point that for which a customer believes this is my fate. I mean, this is the fate of technology. There's no change possible. Discovering the unstated want of a customer is really that compelling value of the future, right? And that requires a deeper understanding of what is the customer's pain point rather than the customer's stated want. Yeah? So you discover both these tracks and then say, in order for me to get to a certain right to play,
Sure.
is being the best in the stated want. Yeah. The right to win comes from the unstated need of the customer. Delivering the unstated need, then you have the right to win. Because to start with, you're an unknown brand and you're a made in India label. You've got to have a much more compelling value. And that comes from the unstated want of the customer. So for us to define that took a long time, right? So to come back and say, what is it that LG had to stand for is to be a company that was in the cutting edge of innovation, that constantly explores customers' pain points and bring value to the customer. That's one piece as far as the technology, what LG should stand for and what we envisioned LG's future is, right? The second piece is, again, deriving from the unknown brand and a made in India label. If a factory manager buys a multinational company's compressor and something goes wrong, he's not going to lose his job.
Yeah, it's not going to be faulted.
No. But if he buys an LG compressor and it fails, there's a potential for him to lose his job. So which means the quality of our products is just not good enough to be as good as the best. We have to be far better. Failure is something that we just cannot tolerate because of the position, the brand position and the position of the company. So the quality the standard of definition of quality was, the current standard was just not good enough. We had to aspire for. The third piece is really from a customer's point of view, any mechanical equipment will fail.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a life cycle failure, right? So it's a question of how quickly and effectively you respond to customers, right? And how quickly and effectively you engage with a customer with the intent for him to continue to derive value from your machine, even though it's gone down, right? How quickly can you do that, right? So to just give you an example, we have an unstated rule in the company: we will not argue with the customer. Yeah, we will first get the machine up and running and figure out the commercials later, right? That's the priority, right?
Sure.
That's the service experience. So we've been doing this effectively all over the world, and that's a foundation for us. Yeah. So these are all the priorities that we built out in the initial customer-oriented priorities.